Hello students, today we are going to discuss chapter number 13, Why Do We Fall Ill? Students, nowadays whole world is facing COVID-19 pandemic. Due to this pandemic, we are unable to join the school, many industries and offices are closed. Our social and economic life is completely disturbed. Health of many people is at the risk. With this, we are also hearing news about food. With this, we are also hearing news like flood, earthquakes, forest fire, drought, etc. All these situations affect human health by one or another way. Due to these events such as earthquake, drought, flood, human beings in that area suffer a lot, but after the actual disaster also humans suffer from poverty, different communicable diseases, scarcity of food and drinking water, less resources, etc. Students, we have learned that cells are basic unit of living organism. We know cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life. Cells are made up of variety of chemical substances like proteins, carbohydrate, fats. The living cell is dynamic place. Something or other is always happening in our cell. Cells move from one place to another. Even in cells that do not move, there is repair going on. So there is continuous something happening in the cell in our body, such as formation of new cell, growth and repair of the cells takes place. New cells are being made in our organs or tissues. There are various specialized activities going on. For example, the heart is beating, lungs are breathing, the kidney is filtering urine, brain is thinking, and we know all these activities are interconnected. All activities are connected to each other, and they are controlled activities, so that we can walk, we can write, we can think, we can give response to stimulus. If, for example, if the kidneys are not filtering urine, the poisonous substances will accumulate in our body, because in excretion the toxic substances are thrown out of our body. But if the kidneys are not able to do their work, then the poisonous substances will get accumulate in our body. Under such condition, the brain will not be able to think properly. For all these interconnected activities, energy and raw material are needed, and we obtain it from the outside of the body in the form of food. So we know food is giving us energy to do different activities. Anything that prevents proper functioning of cell and tissue will lead to lack of proper activity of the body. So if any disturbance takes place in all these functioning of the cell, tissue or organ, then our body or our general health will get affected. Our body will not function properly. So in this lesson we will study about the health, diseases, causes of diseases and different type of diseases. Now see, what is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. It always implies the idea of well-being. Whenever we think about health, we think of well-being, and means that effective functioning of our body. For example, health of your grandmother. If your grandmother is able to go out to the market or to visit the neighbors, then we can say her health is good. And if not, then we can say she is having poor health. So, health is the state of well-being. It is the state of physical, mental and social well-being. These are few conditions which are related or which are necessary for the good health. As I told, what is health? It is complete physical, mental and social well-being. So it includes physical environment, It includes social environment, society, surrounding, and also it is it includes our mental peace, our mental health also. And to maintain good health we require proper balanced and nutritious diet so that the health of person can be good. Personal hygiene is important, because if there is no hygiene then there is chances of diseases or there is chances of poor health. Clean environment and surrounding is important. Healthy air, no pollution in the surrounding helps for the good health. Exercise, good standard of living, good economic status help for the good health. So, in short, we can say health of all organism depends on surrounding. It is related to mental, physical, and social well-being. Now let's talk about disease. Disease means disturb ease. It literally means being uncomfortable. So when body is not at ease, that is comfortable, then it is said to have a disease. When there is a disease, the functioning or appearance of one or more systems of the body changes. As we know, each of the organ system of our body has specific organs as its parts. For example, our digestive system is having stomach, small intestine, large intestine. All these are the different organs of our digestive system, and it has particular function. Excretory system is having kidneys, ureter, urethra as their different organs or parts, and they perform the function of excretion. So each and every organ tissue of our body is related to each other, they are interconnected. When there is a disease, either the functioning or the appearance of one or more system of body will change for the worse. These changes give rise to symptoms and signs of diseases. So symptoms of diseases are the things we feel as being wrong. So we come to know about the diseases due to symptoms. These symptoms are the indicators which indicates us that something wrong is there, something is not well in our body. So we have a headache or cough, loose motions. These are all symptoms. These indicate that there may be a disease, but they don't indicate what the disease is. So these symptoms are the indicators of poor health, of some diseases, but it does not indicate which disease is there. For example, a headache may mean that just examination stress, or very rarely it may mean meningitis. Meningitis means inflammation of brain meninges. Our brain is surrounded by meninges, and if inflammation in that meninges takes place, then it is called as meningitis, or any one of the different dozens of reasons. Signs of the diseases are what physicians will look for on the basis of symptoms. So the symptoms or the signs are the basis for physicians also, for doctors also, to treat that person. Signs will give a little more definite indication of the presence of particular diseases. Now, depending on the duration, there are two types of diseases: acute disease and chronic disease. Acute disease means the diseases that last for only short period of time. For example, headache, common cough, cold are the acute diseases. These are very short period time diseases. Another type of disease is chronic disease. Diseases that last for long time are called chronic diseases, such as elephantiasis, tuberculosis, cancer. All these are the chronic diseases. We'll discuss about the chronic diseases and poor health. See, as we can imagine, acute and chronic diseases have different effect on our health. Any disease that cause poor functioning of some part of the body will affect our general health as well. So as our each and every organ system is interconnected, so any of the system will get affected, then our general health will get affected. But an acute disease will not have time to cause major effects on our general health. As these acute diseases are short term diseases, so it cannot harm our general health because it is very short term diseases. While a chronic disease can harm our general health because these are the long term diseases, persons suffer from these diseases for longer period of time, and during that time such type of diseases, chronic diseases, can affect different organ system, and ultimately it affects our general health. For example, we will take example of acute disease such as cough and cold, which all of us have from time to time. Most of us get better and become well within week or so, and there are no bad effects on our health. Whenever there is acute disease, we do not observe the loss of weight or short breath or feeling tired after, during that disease or after the disease, because all these diseases are very short duration and we get recover within short period of time. But if we get infected with a chronic disease which will last for few months or few years, then it makes us lose weight, feel tired all the time, shortness of breath. All these we can observe in the chronic diseases. So simply we can say that chronic diseases are responsible for the prolonged general poor health, and acute diseases cannot harm the general health. Chronic diseases therefore have very drastic long term effects on people's health as compared to the acute diseases. Now we will discuss about causes of diseases. There are two types of causes of diseases. First one is immediate cause and second one is contributory cause. Immediate cause. The organisms that enter our body and causes disease is called immediate cause. For example, viruses, bacteria, protozoa are the immediate causes of different diseases. Contributory causes are the secondary factors which are responsible for the disease. These are the contributory in for the disease. For example, dirty water, unclear surrounding, contaminated food, improper nourishment, poverty, poor standard of living. All these are contributory causes. For example, if a baby is suffering from loose motion, we can say that the cause of loose motion is an infection with the virus. So here immediate cause of the disease is virus. But the next question is what? Where did the virus come from? Suppose we find that the virus come from unclean drinking water. So this unclean drinking water is what? Contributory cause. With that, we can also think that due to lack of nourishment, that baby become suffering from the loose motions, because that baby does not get proper diet or nourishment. So this is one of the contributory cause. We may think that there is some genetic difference in that baby which makes it more likely to suffer from loose motion when exposed to such viruses. Or we can also say that the public services are poor where the baby's family is living. Or we can also think that due to poverty, lack of public services, the baby is suffering from diseases. All these are contributory causes of disease. All diseases will have immediate cause and the contributory causes. So as I told, every disease may have immediate or contributory cause. Most diseases will have many causes rather than one single cause. The immediate causes of disease as belonging to two distinct types. One group of cause is the infectious agents, mostly microbes or microorganisms. So diseases where microbes are the immediate cause are called infectious diseases. So the diseases which spread due to infection by microorganisms are called infectious diseases. Here the immediate cause is the microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, etc. This is because the microbes can spread in the community and the diseases they cause will spread with them. So these diseases which are caused due to microbes are called as infectious diseases because with microbes the diseases also spread in the community. On the other hand, there are also diseases which do not caused by infectious agents. Their causes vary, but they are not external causes like microbes. So non infectious diseases are the diseases which are not spread by the microbes. These are mostly internal and non infectious causes. For example, some cancers are caused by genetic abnormalities, high BP, thyroid. All these are the non infectious diseases. It cannot spread from one person to another or from infected person to healthy person. Next is infectious diseases, also called as communicable diseases. See, when a disease causing organisms enter our body, it causes infection. That organism multiplies and grows in the body, and microbes multiplies in the host body. So here the organism, disease causing microorganism enters our body. In our body they cause infection, they increase in number, it multiplies, grows in our body, and here the organism in whose body these microorganisms are growing is called as host. So they enter in the host body, multiply in the host, grow in the host body, and causes the infection. Such diseases are called as infectious diseases. The organisms that can cause disease are wide in range. Some of them are viruses, some are bacteria, some are fungi, some are single celled animals or protozoans. Some diseases are also caused by multicellular organisms such as worms of different kinds. So these are the different causes of infection such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa and worms. And here we can see the different diseases caused due to such infectious causes or infectious agents. Common example of disease caused by viruses are the common cold, influenza, dengue, AIDS, etc. So here we can see the different disease causing agent and diseases caused by them. Bacteria. See, due to bacteria, the diseases such as tuberculosis, tetanus, typhoid, cholera, anthrax can be caused. Viruses are responsible for common cold, influenza, dengue fever, AIDS, rabies, chickenpox, measles, etc. Fungi are responsible for skin diseases, food poisoning. Protozoas are responsible for malaria, amoebiasis, kala azar. Worms are responsible for filariasis. So all these are disease causing agents and diseases caused by them. Now question arises, why it is important that we think of these categories of infectious agent? So we have to think about these infectious agents because these categories are important factor in deciding what kind of treatment to use. Member of each one of these groups such as viruses, bacteria have many biological characteristics in common. So we have to categorize all these diseases based on their disease causing agents or infectious agents, because to decide the line of treatment, to decide the way of treatment to particular disease, we have to classify the diseases based on the agents, disease causing agent. So to decide line of treatment, to decide how to treat that particular disease, it is necessary to categorize all these diseases based on their infectious agent. For example, all viruses live inside the host cell. So this is common in all viruses that they require a host for their multiplication, for their growth. whereas bacteria do not require, or very rarely they require the host. Viruses, bacteria and fungi multiply very quickly, while worms multiply very slowly in comparison. So these are the different life processes, these are different ways of action of all these organisms, and so to understand this and to treat accordingly is necessary. See, taxonomically, all bacteria are closely related to each other. So, most of the bacteria are very similar to each other. Their way of life processes, biochemical processes are very similar to each other than the viruses. And also, most of the viruses are having common life processes, common way of life processes. This means that many important life processes are similar in bacteria group but are not shared with the viruses group. So bacteria may have similar life processes, but bacteria and viruses are having different life processes. As a result, drugs that block one of these life processes in one member of group is likely to be effective. For example, one medicine is there which is effective to treat bacterial disease, or which is effective to treat one type of bacteria. Then that medicine can be used for number of bacteria because they are having common biochemical pathways. For example, let us take antibiotics. Antibiotics commonly block biochemical pathways important for bacteria. For example, many bacteria make cell wall to protect themselves. So the antibiotic like penicillin blocks the bacterial process that build the cell wall. So this penicillin, when we take penicillin, this penicillin will block the process of cell wall formation. This penicillin will stop the cell wall formation in that particular bacteria. As a result, the growing bacteria become unable to make cell walls and die easily. Now this penicillin will affect only bacterial cell because human cells do not have cell wall, and so penicillin cannot have any harmful effect on the human cells on our body, but it will affect the bacteria, it will stop the growth of bacteria. And this single medicine, this single penicillin will have this effect on many bacteria, or any type of bacteria that use such process for making cell wall. So one medicine can be useful for number of bacteria which are having this process of building cell wall. Similarly, many antibiotics work against many species of bacteria rather than simply working against one. So one antibiotic can treat different type of bacterial diseases. But viruses do not use these pathways at all, and that is the reason why antibiotics do not work against viral infection. See, nowadays also we are suffering from COVID-19 pandemic. This COVID-19 is a viral disease. It is caused due to coronavirus. Why? And scientists of all over the world are trying to find the medicine for this disease, but we are not successful yet. Why? Because to find the disease for or antibiotics for the viral infection is quite difficult. Why it is difficult? Because viruses used host body or host cell for their life processes. When virus is outside the host body, it do not show any symptoms, any characteristics of living organism. As soon as it enters the host body, host cell, it uses host cell machinery, such as it uses host cell organelles, host cell proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, all their organelles, machineries they are using for their growth, for their multiplication. So if we will take any medicine to kill that virus, that medicine can affect our cell also, or cells of the host also. So it is very difficult to find antibiotics against the viral infection. For example, if we are suffering from viral cold and any other bacterial disease, in that case antibiotic we can take, but that antibiotic will work only against the bacterial part of the infection, not the viral infection. See, different means of spread of diseases. Infectious disease spread through air, causes airborne diseases due to bacteria, viruses such as common cold, influenza, measles, tuberculosis, etc. Infectious diseases can also be spread by food and water. It caused due to contamination of food and water. It contains bacteria, viruses, worms, and the diseases which can spread through food and water, contaminated food and water, are cholera, typhoid, hepatitis. Diseases which can spread by the means of contact. Many diseases spread by contact of infected person with the healthy person, such as fungal infection, scabies, AIDS, syphilis, spread due to sexual contact. Some diseases are there which can spread due to body fluids like blood, semen, mother milk. When infected, can also cause disease to other persons also. So these are the means of spread of different infectious disease, such as airborne disease spread due to air. So these common cold, influenza, tuberculosis can be spread by air. Waterborne, cholera, typhoid, hepatitis. Sexual diseases, AIDS, syphilis, and animal-borne diseases, rabies, and animal-borne diseases. These are the diseases which are spread by the animals. These animals carry infecting agents from the sick person to another healthy person. These animals are thus intermediate and are called vectors. So the animals which are carrying infection causing organisms are called as vectors. The commonest vectors are mosquitoes. In many species of mosquitoes, the females need highly nutritious food in the form of blood. So they suck our blood. Female mosquitoes need nutritious food in the form of our blood in order to be able to lay mature eggs. Mosquitoes feed on many warm-blooded animals, including human beings. And so in this way they can transfer diseases from one person to another. So if that mosquito bite to unhealthy or diseased person, and then same mosquito cause to the healthy person, then that mosquito is the disease causing vector which can spread disease from unhealthy person to healthy person. For example, anopheles mosquito, it transmit plasmodium. Plasmodium is protozoa and which cause malaria. Aedes is the mosquito which is a disease causing vector for dengue fever, chikungunya. Rat is the vector for plague which is a bacterial disease. Then dog is a disease causing vector for the rabies which is also a viral disease. Antibiotics, as I told, these are the chemicals that block biochemical pathways important for bacteria. They are used for diseases caused by bacteria. Inflammation means when an active immune system release many cells to the affected tissue to heat off the disease causing microbes. It is called inflammation. Local effects caused on body due to inflammation are swelling, pain, fever, and redness. So whenever any infection is there in our body part, in particular part of the body, then our immune system is releasing many cells, WBCs, in that particular area which can cause swelling, pain, fever, and that is called as inflammation. Principles of treatment: we can treat different diseases by reducing the effect of disease or by killing the cause of disease. So that means to kill the microbes like bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. Principles of prevention: there are again two methods: general method, specific method. In specific method, we can take vaccines to prevent the infectious diseases. Prevention of exposure can be done in following ways: General method for the prevention of disease is what? To avoid airborne infection while visiting public places, we can cover our nose, mouth while coughing. We can avoid going in the crowded places. To avoid waterborne infections, we can drink clean water or clean and boiled water, so it can avoid the infection, waterborne diseases. Vector borne infections, keep the surrounding. To avoid this, we can keep the surrounding clean. Do not keep any puddle of water open in the surrounding. So we can clean our surrounding. We can avoid littering. We can keep our surrounding clean. We can maintain social hygiene, personal hygiene. We should get proper public facilities such as garbage collection, proper drainage system should be there. Self immune system that can fight off and kill microbes when it enters our body. We have to build up our immune system to fight the disease causing microorganisms. Availability of proper and sufficient food to everyone can prevent the disease. So each and every member of society should get balanced diet, nutritious food, so that diseases can be avoided. So this is all about why do we fall ill. Student, we have to take care of ourselves to avoid poor health, to avoid disease condition. We have to maintain our personal hygiene, social hygiene and mental peace to become healthy. So thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.